Another disappointing day here, certainly as far as the weather was concerned. The cricket that we had was fascinating. This wasn't enough of it. 64.4 overs bowled. India put into bat, reached 146 for 3 in that time. Good toss to win too. Clammy. The floodlights are on at 10 o'clock when the captain's toss has been low cloud all day, and clearly that was what brought the bad light towards the end of the day. So no hesitation, certainly from Kane Williamson, to put India into bat, and New Zealand took their plethora of quick bowlers, swing bowlers in with them, but didn't bowl very well in the first hour. I'm sure Jeremy Coney, when asked me in a minute, would agree with that. The ball was swinging around. They didn't quite settle into the line and length, and allowed Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill to get off to a pretty reasonable start under the circumstances. They got to 62 before Sharma was the first one. He edged Jameson to third slip, where Southey took a brilliant catch, and he was out for 32. 1 run later, Gill was out, caught behind off Wagner for 28. Curious innings from Pujara. It took him 36 balls to get off the mark. He hit 2 fours and was out for 8 from 54 balls, LBW to Bolt. Then we saw some stubborn resistance, really great discipline from Kohli and Rahane. Kohli's 44 not out from 124 balls. He's only hit 1 4, and Rahane 29 not out from 79 balls. He's hit 4 fours so far. So Bolt's taken 1, Jameson's taken 1, Wagner's taken 1, nothing yet for Southey or de Grandhomme. But a really interesting day's play, challenging conditions, which ended prematurely with bad light and a bit of light drizzle falling. So Jeremy Coney is here. First of all, I mean, the balance of the day, where do you think that lies as we
I think if winning the toss, Aggers, I think that you would like more than 3 wickets.
Yeah.
And so I think you'd have to give that to India today. Just losing the 3 wickets. Kohli's still there, obviously the key man.
Yes. And looking by the way he's batting, he seems, I think, to recognise the value of every run out there as well, doesn't he? He's playing very circumspectly, running the 1s, 2s and 3s really hard. You know, he knows that it's likely to be a low-scoring match if we get through to Wednesday without too much more interruption.
Very busy. Runs on the board will count.
Yes.
I think before this game is over, we will go through a period of play where the bowlers hold sway, where the batsmen don't miss the ball, they'll nick it, and I think that we'll find that clumps of wickets may fall later on. So he knows that. Yeah. Runs in this first innings are going to be important.
Interesting that India didn't change their team at all, despite the conditions. It's really clammy and the
no, that's right. And if they'd won the toss, what would they have done?
Yeah,
but
who knows?
I think they'll be in the more runs they get, the happier they will be with the visible footmarks appearing, and may bring their spinners into play. They probably feel, even though in dank conditions like this, that their spinners are good enough that they'll still be a danger for New Zealand.
Yeah, interesting.
I mean, New Zealand have 3 left-handers in the top 5.
Yes.
So that's where Ashwin comes into play.
Yes, and there are some marks there already from the left armers, aren't there? So what about that first hour? I mean, it can happen, can't it, where you just get a bit anxious, and as a bowler, you know, the captain wins the toss, looking at the floodlights are on, you're going to get a bag of wickets out there, it's going to swing all over the place, and actually it's like a spinner expecting to bowl a team out on the last day. It's quite a pressurised situation, isn't it? The expectation is there that you're just going to run up, the ball's going to swing around, and you're going to get a bag full of wickets.
It is there, the excitement, and a little bit of nerves, I would have thought, from New Zealand as well. Yes. Maybe they bowled in England length in that first hour, but anyway, it was wayward. It was either too full and it was driven beautifully by Shubman Gill or Rohit Sharma, or if it was short, it was punched square on the offside, or if it was dragged down slightly, Bolt did a couple of times, and Gill very much like that, with that sort of pull shot of his that goes almost a long on, just a wee bit wider.
Yeah, it's interesting because I mean there's such experience in the
Yes,
New Zealand attack, and it's interesting. It seems to be played in a very good spirit. So the captains clearly get on very well, and lots of sort of slaps on the back and that sort of a thing. Yeah. So it's not as though it's a sort of a stressful. It doesn't feel like it's a stressful match necessarily from a player's perspective, but.
They're all trying though, don't you worry,
of course.
Aren't they? Of course, they're striving.
Absolutely, and they want to win it.
Too right they do.
But I'm just wondering about it doesn't feel like it's not like an angry match.
No, it doesn't look like that, does it? But the players are getting... Yes, you're right. The players are getting on together. I don't think you need it to be, obviously, competitive.
Yeah.
I think they are. I think they're really trying,
Yeah.
almost too hard.
Yeah, well, do you think, I sort of alluding to that, do you think that's what it was in that first hour?
I
They
do.
just got a bit ahead of themselves.
I do think that. I think they thought that they might just come out and really show that they're going to make a meal of this, and that they could actually just break through this Indian side.
Yeah.
And they didn't.
No.
And well done, India, for taking advantage of that. They did then recorrect things, didn't they?
Well, Jameson did, really. I mean, the youngster came on.
He was the one who made the difference. He came on and he bowled tightly. He forgot about actually trying to really take wickets with every ball.
Yes.
And he just bowled a line and a length, and he got it to move away slightly. He bowled maidens.
Yes.
And he deserved that first wicket, I felt.
Which was, I mean, it was a terrific catch. I mean, first of all, Rohit Sharma, I think we both enjoy watching him bat, don't we? He's just so easy and loose and very relaxed and very casual. He's a bit like Inzamam in a way. It's all whether he moves around and so on. But I mean,
it's an appropriate shot, isn't it, for the ball?
Yes.
If it's up, he just moves and caresses it through the covers. If it's back, he just punches it square, tucks it off. Got the first ball of the match, didn't he? Tucked it off the pads. Been in isolation for 10 days. This is how I thought it might start.
Yes.
And away it went.
And actually, you make a good point there before we talk about his dismissal. I mean, for India to have really been banged up here for 2 weeks, had no competitive cricket at all, apart from nets and a bit of stuff between themselves. I mean, it must have been pretty difficult to go out there in these conditions.
And of the two sides...
New Zealand have had a tremendous build-up.
Exactly.
So they must have been searching a bit, you'd have think, to find a bit of bat on ball early on.
I mean, a few went past the bat today, but I thought they handled it very well indeed, the Indians. And Gill looked like a good hand-eye player, doesn't move the feet quite so much, and that might encourage you to go a bit fuller too, of length.
He might not skip down the pitch to Jameson in future.
I don't think he will. A lot of the batsmen came forward, and Rohit was the same, and then Kohli was the same. They came down the pitch.
He was taking a pace down the pitch.
But he was actually moving as Jameson bowled.
And got grilled for his trouble.
He did, and then he went back.
Yes, I was surprised. I mean, it's a brutal ball,
yes.
But why are you thinking he might skip down the pitch to 6'8" Jameson?
Yes.
On this? It was unusual.
It was, and he's a young man, and he'll learn from those things.
Do it again. Yeah.
No, that's right. Rohit Sharma, his dismissal. You know, when the ball's moving to an outswinger to a right-hander, you need to not hit the ball straight back at the bowler, because then you nick it.
Yeah.
It's where you go with it. If it's swinging away, you go squarer. So the ball shoots away, and that's where some of the older and more experienced players, Kohli, you'll see the bat face slightly open when he's driving the ball. So instead of going through sort of mid-off, just to the right, left of mid-off, it goes through sort of square cover.
Yes.
And you find that you learn that as you play the game.
Yes.
The squarer you go when the ball is moving away from you.
Yeah, interesting. We must mention Pujara's rather strange innings. There's 36 balls to get off the mark, and he hit 2 fours. They're lovely shots too. And out for 8 from 54 with a funny old knock.
Well, he's a curiosity in the team, isn't he? The glue there.
Yeah.
Plays differently, the perpendicular man. And, it was strange. He tried hard. He came forward, and then he missed one.
Yes.
From Bolt.
Which looked plumber live
yes, it did.
than actually the replay suggested. I mean, it was out. It was hitting the top of leg, but it was just one of those lovely left-armers dismissals, swinging in.
Yeah, and so he went, and then Rahane and Kohli came out, of course, and they batted. I thought they both batted very well indeed. Yeah. So I mean, that's where Jameson for me was also the pick of the bowlers. He bounced the ball, I thought, early on. Well, the ball was still new and he was fresh and he looked quite lively. The ball coming through very nicely. Could have got an edge, or gloves round that area, bat pad. And as the ball got older, he started to swing it in and out. And I think he'll learn later on not to show the batsman too much, too early, and every over. Hold one of them back.
14 overs, 9 maidens, 1 for 14. He's bowled, so that's a really outstanding effort. So there we go. It has been disappointing here. Only 64.4 overs to go. We're still making up time, which we'll do tomorrow. It is an improved weather forecast, so let's hope that we do actually get a full day tomorrow and we can get moving. Kohli and Rahane will resume, and India will resume on 1:46 for 3.